Hey guys, Ronan Will. Today we are painting Kalani, the super tactical droid from Star Wars Shatterpoint. So we're going to start with some gunmetal to basically fill in all his non-armor. Is that armor? Is that just metal plating? I don't really know. Just filling in all the exposed joints and sections. As usual, we will be going over the card and some of his history as we go over the painting because I am very slow at painting. Anyway, so Kalani is a secondary unit. He comes in the Star Wars Shatterpoint core set. He is associated usually with what's her name? Asajj Ventress. Not Kingdom Hearts. So, he is, of course, a battle droid, which means, obviously, he is a droid, and he is part of the Separatist Alliance. So, unlike a lot of our other units, he actually has 10 whole hit points, so he can take a pretty good beating. And he has 2 endurance, or what was I calling it? It wasn't endurance, it was something else. Anyway, but he's got, basically you have to take down 20 health and then he's out of the game. So let's take a quick look. He has 4 skills. The first one is called, of course, Roger Roger. At the start of this unit's activation, each allied battle droid supporting character within range 4 of this character is able to make a advance. Pretty good. You can basically activate him and then advance a few units to aid in cover. He's got Tactical Network, which is 1 force point. Choose another allied battle droid character within range 4. The chosen character may advance, then may gain cover, remove 1 condition from itself, or make a 5 dice attack. So he's kind of tactically telling the units what to do. Very thematic. His next ability is called Target Concentrate All Fire. When an allied battle droid character makes an attack, if the target character is within range 4 of 1 or more other allied battle droid character, the attacking character adds plus 1 dice. Adds 1 die to the attack roll. So basically, this guy wants to be around the other battle droids to help increase the chances of getting more damage or more hits. Then his final ability is called Complete Analysis. When you spend force to place this unit's order card in reserve, spend 1 less force point. So instead of spending 1, you have to spend 0, which is kind of useful. And then if he's damaged, you'd spend 2, but instead you'd only have to spend 1. Okay, pretty simple, straightforward guy here. With again, he's more of, I'm going to hang back and help command what's going on. Although don't let that fool you, because his attack card, which is called Cold Logic, pretty much tells a different story. So he's got a range of 5 and, of course, a melee. His ranged attack is at 7 dice and 4 defense, where his melee is 6 dice and 3 defense. Of course, he kind of would prefer to hang back. Again, everything is kind of pointing you in that direction of hanging back, trying to avoid being in the middle of combat. So he's got the E5 blaster rifle, which, interestingly enough, the only blaster he actually has is the one that I added to him. So this unit came with multiple hands. He could be doing the pointing thing. He can be doing the hand behind the back blaster, or holding like a tactical map. I like the idea of the tactical map, and I might try and incorporate it someplace on his base. But I ended up going a little bit more like how I remember these guys in the Clone Wars, where they're not very like active. They're just kind of standing there, and they're like, "You go do this. I don't even need to point. I'm just going to stand there." That's kind of what I gathered from just the way he kind of stands and everything. Anyway, so the E5 blaster rifle, if you roll 1 expertise, he gets 1 auto crit. If you roll 2 or more, he ends up getting 1 auto crit, a hit, and a hit. So kind of past 2, it's a waste, but oh well. And then he also has a bash, which is his melee. So he's got 1 to 3 for melee, only gives him 1 additional hit, and 4 or more gives him 1 additional crit. So I start with some orc skin, or sorry, not orc skin, goblin skin. But I find this is too light, and this is perfect for the other super tactical droid that came in the General Grievous set, because his coloring is actually a lighter green than Kalani's. Which actually I think next episode should be his coloring. But alright, and then self-preservation is his defense. 1 to 2 gives him 1 additional defense, 3 to 4 gives him 2 additional defense, and 5 or more gives him 2 additional defense plus a redeploy. Is that what it's called? Alright, and then his attack is, his first 3 are linear, and then from there you get to make 1 choice, and then they all end in the same. So he can deal a pretty decent amount of damage. 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 9 at minimum, 8 at minimum, 9 at maximum. Assuming you get more than 1 hit. You need to get a grand total of 5 to be able to travel his whole tree. He also does some pushes, some advances, some disarms, so not too bad. Again, he's more of a strategy type thing, so he wants to go for his ranged attacks, and he wants to be surrounded by battle droids so he doesn't get attacked. Let's see, so there's a lot of green on this guy, so primarily everything is going to be painted green from this point on. But I do a little bit of a dry brush before we end up actually dark toning him. And that is because he has a lot of gold highlights, so to try and help mitigate the gold highlights, I kind of just dry brush some gold into those spots. It is the one nice thing with this, with these models, is they molded all the major color changes on certain units, like him. So you don't have to be like having to hand draw all the gold highlights on him. But let me tell you, painting this green took forever. I don't know why it was just not wanting to go down right at first. So I had to like thicken up my green paint as I was painting for you guys and everything. But alright, so super tactical droids. Manufactured by Bactoid Combat Automata. Product line was, of course, tactical battle droids. The series itself is called the ST series, military strategic analysis and tactical droids. Of course, he's a battle droid. Let's see. And of course, we know he's part of the CIS, or Confederacy of Independent Systems, whatever you want to call him. So, if I'm not mistaken, these units, the super tactical droids, were the answer to, like, the droids not being very strategic on the battlefield and everything. These guys were meant to kind of offset that. So let's take a quick look at his history here. Kalani was the chosen name of a strategy droid of Malsine programming, who served as a general in the Separatist droid army during the Clone Wars in 20 BBY. Kalani was ordered to the planet of Onderon by Separatist leader Count Dooku after being requested of reinforcements by the appointed king in order to aid in the planetary civil war against the resistance movement, which had threatened the confidentiality, that is not the right word, Confederacy's control over the planet. However, after plunged engagements and mounted losses of his forces, the droid assassinated the planet's. Trying to read this while my eyes are just not wanting to focus, guys, is not happening very well. So he was recalled by Dooku after they basically lost the battle on the on Onderon. Returning to Angmar, Kalani and his forces awaited further instructions for Dooku in order of the planet in a DH Omni support vessel. However, as the war progressed near its closure, the super tactical droid's ship was attacked by Galactic Republic forces, which resulted in the ship crashing on the surface of the planet. When the war did reach its end, Kalani received the order, alongside the rest of the Separatist battle droids, to deactivate his droid forces and himself as the war had ended. But the super tactical droid, who believed it to be the Republic trick, refused to allow the order. As a result, Kalani remained on the surface of Angmar for several years. 17 years, apparently, to be precise. After the war's end, Kalani and his still active droid forces were encountered by the group of rebels known as... Oh, is this the crew of the Ghost? I remember this episode. That was a pretty good episode. Alright, so we're just about done painting the base coat here. There we go. And then we took some greedy gold, and I apologize for this section. The actual footage got a little corrupted, so you get this weird, like, janky version of me painting. So, this is the dry brush section where I'm just kind of filling in all the spots that are supposed to have gold trimming on it, just so I know once I finish the dark tone what's supposed to be what color. And even then I end up changing it up a little bit. So if it finishes up here, come on. Yeah, there's a lot of touch-ups on this guy. So I take some red and I just fill in the 3 eyes. Again, I'm not doing too much highlighting or anything on it. And then that's the dark tone that I used, that I usually use. Here's the cap of the dark tone that I usually use. And this is, again, just coating the whole thing in the dark tone. And this is to make sure that he has a nice even coating on him. Let me tell you, I can't wait to base these guys. And there we go. Alright, so I took some green. I took a darker green here. And I still don't like how light it is. So instead, I take that green and I add some Necro Cloak to it. And that gets me closer to the green that I was looking for. You know, I go over the entire body again in this with this green. So enjoy. I find it interesting that Kalani was basically only in 2 episodes. He was in, or not really just 2 episodes, but he was in a few episodes in the Clone Wars, and he's famous enough now to get his own battle unit here, because then the only other time he makes an appearance is during Star Wars Rebels as kind of like the broken down last remaining separatist holdout. But I remember the episode where he ends up executing the king at the end, just to be like, no, this is how we're doing this. Again, Clone Wars was a lot darker than I think people, including myself, even remember. I did not remember it being that dark. But apparently he went around and he just like killed off the king, and then he ends up getting completely defeated by, of course, Anakin's guerrilla tactics and all of that. The ironic part of this whole section right here is I ended up having to mix more green and Necro Cloak, just because it dried out really fast for some reason, which is funny because I'm using a wet palette, so I don't know why it dried out so quickly. But Get a little bit more coloring on him here. But there's not too much else to say. He doesn't have a long history. He ends up, again, I do like the last episode that he's in, which is where Kanan, Ezra, and Rex end up on the planet that he crash landed on. And they basically do a giant war game between him and the three of them. I think Zeb was captured, and so they're like trying to basically rescue him. It's like a whole weird plot with that. Then, of course, the Empire comes, and then he blows himself up to stop the Empire. No real behind the scenes, and they don't really talk about any equipment or anything that he's specialized with. So this is that new mixture. You can actually see it's a little bit lighter than the initial mix, which isn't that big of a deal. You really can't tell once it's dried. Once this is all on there, then we move up the body, of course. I end up not really doing too much with dark tone, with gunmetal on him. I kind of like how it turned out. So, in truth, once we're done with the green, we're pretty much done with the paint job. I end up going and coloring in the gold again, of course, but that's about it. Again, I always find droids hard to really do too much detailing on, because you either want to go very heavy on the highlights to show like reflective armor and stuff, but again, Clone Wars doesn't even really use highlights. Like, they don't use reflective weaponry or metallics. So there we go. And we just kind of, you can see I do really like the darker green on this guy. Especially if I'm going to be painting the other super tactical droid with a light green, which is kind of what he calls for on his card art and all of that. So it will be a nice contrast between the two. Should be easy enough. Their metal, their like gold trimming is also very different. Although Kalani, I find it interesting, Kalani, even on his card art, uses metal, where the other tactical, I can't even think of what his name is right now, the other tactical battle droid uses a yellow paint instead of a gold finish. So, it should be easy enough to tell the difference when you're trying to decide what units you want to use in the game. Also, very different poses. Kalani has this more regal, like, calculating pose, where the other one is more actively, like, in the middle of a battlefield. Kalani I could see standing on, like, a tactics bridge, not really doing anything, where, you know, the other one is definitely like running around on the battlefield, not quite leading the group, but leading the group, if you will. So, again, all I'm really doing here is bringing up the green, ironically darkening the green by bringing it up, and then we are going to touch on the head again, get that dark tone, or darker. There we go. I guess it's raining out. That, well, then again, it got really dark really quickly. It was only an hour ago that it was like really bright and it was looking very nice out. But that's what happens down here. Alright, so next I should be taking, I think I do the gold next. Yeah. So I'm just dry brushing the gold here. Again, you want to get as little as you can on the brush, so then this way it's very softly being added to it instead of like a thick paint, essentially. Just the sheer amount of areas that I'm doing that in. And then what I end up doing is I take a little bit of green for those side panels there. And I don't know why, it's only those on his calves. Like, that's the only spot this weirdly lighter green color comes in. Along with, again, the gold trimming. So. I should be back to, yeah, I'm doing some more gold dusting, if you will. Oh, this is some of the green. I just took some of the green skin tone and doing a very broad strokes of light green over just the very top of the model. This is the gold. And then if I end up touching a few spots with actual gold just to bring the color back to where it should be, especially around the upper forearm or the lower forearm, right? Something like that. Honestly, I probably could have gotten a little bit heavier with the gold highlights, but I went very light just because I kind of liked the green more than the gold. There was a gold spot on his foot that originally I didn't do in gold, I did it in just gunmetal. So I went back to touch that up. And then on the sides of his legs. My God, it is coming down so hard, so quickly all of a sudden. One last touch up on the back there, because for some reason, no matter what I did, that back spot would not like stay bright colored. Alright, next I take some gunmetal and just touch up a few spots with actual dark gunmetal. Basically gunmetal and black paint mixed together. just to darken it so it's a little bit more Star Wars shaded. Every one of those extended joints has this black rod or this metallic rod coming out from it. So and I also have to clean up his face a little. And then I'm going for his blaster now. Again, it's just kind of subtle highlighting. That's going over his like extruded mouth section, whatever you want to call it. Alright, and then last but not least is his eyes. Unlike a lot of the other guys, he actually has like 3 little lights for his eyes. So I start out with a red, then I go with like an orange or a peach color. Which in truth, I really don't know if this shows up that well on the video. I know it kind of shows up well in real life, but like even that is iffy. Yeah, I guess you can kind of see the different levels of the eyes. And then of course I mix a little white in. And that just about does it. I end up giving up, and there he is. There's Kalani, guys. I do like the green and gold highlights. I think he turned out pretty good for how complicated his patterning is on the body. But yeah, that's him. Alright, till next time, guys. Will. Later.